About this angle that I am filming, but I had to make this video because I'm going to be going away for the weekend, and by the time this video gets seen, you guys have already missed the live stream. Depends if you catch it or not. I did do this earlier, but unfortunately I had to stop it early because I had to help my mom, and now that she's gone, now I can get the video done, and she was like, hey, have fun. But as you can see, I'm playing Spider-Man PS4, and this is what the whole gist of the video that I'm going to talk about. Basically, I want to describe in detail why I think Spider-Man PS4 is the most important Spider-Man game to date. Meaning, what's so important about this game and why it's very substantial, especially to somebody like me or average gamers or even pro gamers. This Spider-Man game is not like any other Spider-Man game that we've seen, especially with what we've gotten over the years. There have been many great Spider-Man games, and I think you can agree that there have been some bad Spider-Man games. Most notably, a couple of them have hit the mainstream. But the idea behind the Spider-Man games is to make you feel like a superhero. And I think the games deliver on that part, especially on Batman Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knight, and Arkham City. All of those games make you feel like you're Batman. And I'm just making sure the audio is good on my computer. All of those games make you... I see, okay. Now, if I want to get the sound effects in the video, also this is the map layout real fast, but there we go. So now you can hear the sound effects, and you can also hear me at the same time. So, this game basically is a step up of what we've ever gotten. The graphics, everything is amazing. But there's more to just the graphics and just the visuals. There's a lot of things to talk about why this game is so important. Not only to a PS4 user, but to a Spider-Man fan in general. Now watch me take care of these bad guys. So, first off, I'm going to talk about why it's so important. And I'm not going to talk about the graphics or anything like that, but I'm going to talk about significance of how this game came to be almost probably the best incarnation of a Spider-Man game you will ever see. Now, first off, the first reason alone is the story. In most Spider-Man games that we've gotten, some of them are original movie tie-ins or are either just expanded upon the universe of Spider-Man. And for the most part, we have gotten pretty decent games. The best Spider-Man game to date, even I have to agree at this point, is Spider-Man 2. If you guys never played Spider-Man 2, I urge you by everything to please play that game. But Spider-Man PS2 was a perfect example of what you can do with a free roam and basically make it interesting. It was big, it was wide, and this game basically takes that. But in Spider-Man 2, it was a tie-in movie game, so you had to tie it in with the movie that came out that year, Spider-Man 2, and the movie itself is great. I still love it to this day. But in this game, this is an all-new story, a brand new telling of Spider-Man. We have all new ways to interpret the character, and in this case, Spider-Man himself is more knowledgeable. He's basically been doing this since, I believe, a few years now. He's older, and he's more wiser, obviously still the Spider-Man we love. But the main idea, the reason it's so significant is you could take a Spider-Man game and put emotion and depth into the story, and you can make it feel real, which is, I think, the most crucial part to a Spider-Man game, is the story. That's the first reason. Number two, another important reason as to why this game is important is the mechanics to when you perform Spider-Man moves. Now, going back to Arkham, all those games are great. I'm not arguing that at all. If anything, the Arkham games have set the bar. But Spider-Man PS4 was able to take that bar and elevate it even higher. It was able to make... It was basically... How do I put it? So, Arkham, all three games put a foundation for superhero games should be. And Arkham basically took it, and also I'm just fixing the sound quality. But basically it took that formula and just elevated it more. In Arkham, you feel like you're the Dark Knight. You feel like you're Batman. In this game, you get that same formula, but incorporate that with better mechanics for swinging. Look at the animation flow as Spider-Man swings around the city. You can web launch, you can run up buildings, you can do everything. Just like Arkham City, Arkham Knight with the grappling and all that stuff, You can basically keep going and you don't have to stop. The momentum of speed in this game is amazing. And I think that's what the goal was, to make you feel like you're Spider-Man. Even fighting an enemy can be as real. Because watch, you do these special moves, it's literally like taking the enemies you're actually fighting. So the mechanics in this game are a step up and have set a new bar for what superhero games can be, especially when you're producing a game like Spider-Man. That's number 2. Number 3, the most important reason why this game is important is the whole cryptocurrency is not in this game. So if you go to the menu and you look to unlock a suit, you don't have to pay for any DLC suits anymore. Before, in other Spider-Man games, I believe, well, only one game I know, you would have to pay to get other things to unlock them. In this game, you have to work your way. You have to earn tokens and things like that. You don't have to buy them. That's why I'm glad that they were able to keep the Spider-Man game without having you to drop so much money. The only thing you'll be able to spend money on are the DLCs, which is another foundation for this game. The DLCs are not just half-assed. They're basically, as I would put it, they're basically an extension of the story. And I like the fact that when you buy the DLC, you're getting another topic for the story. It continues. It's not like, oh, we just want to put here and there, put a few suits. No, these continue where you left off in the story. Now, I've completed the Spider-Man story. I've already finished it. Now I'm just, exploring my way around. And the thing with it is, now that you're playing these stories, you basically are able to pretty much get to continue more of the story. You don't have to, go out and buy a whole new game, because obviously you're not going to make a new one. But the idea that cryptocurrency is not an option in this game is amazing, and I'm glad that they were able to do that, and they did it pretty much seamlessly. That's number 3. Number 4, and I think that this one is another, the open city world just got revamped. Even though it's New York like we know it, they basically took it and made it even bigger. Now, New York is big enough by it is. If you haven't gone to New York, I don't know what you're doing. But New York is big. And when I'm talking big, I'm talking, you go down midtown, or you go to Manhattan or Times Square, you will most likely get lost. You won't know where you are unless you're probably born and bred in New York. But the whole idea is that this game allows you to simulate that experience as you're swinging around in New York, but adding those few little details, making it linked into its own universe. Now, there are a few nods to a couple of MCU references here and there, most notably the Avengers Tower and Doctor Strange's area, the building. You can go to them, even though you can't go in, they're there, and it gives you an idea that these buildings and these things are here, but it's in its own universe. It's not linked to the MCU, I think. I really didn't get that far. But looking at how you swing around, you have so much to explore. You get to go to the Chrysler Building, the Empire State Building, Madison Square Garden, and the detail on all this is amazing. So they basically took the open world and basically made it bigger than it already is. Number 5. The 5th reason why this game is so important is Insomniac, the company that made it. This is their biggest break to date. Now, if you don't know Insomniac, they did Ratchet & Clank, I believe. And Ratchet & Clank, I'm just going to pull up for one reference, Insomniac. I'm just going to pull it up on my game here. But Insomniac is basically one of the most, if not one of the most reliable game companies that Sony has. They have done Sunset Overdrive, Ratchet & Clank, like I said, and Edge of Nowhere. Now, if you want to get a taste of what they got, go play Sunset Overdrive. That is an amazing game. Well, this game basically put them on the map, because the mechanics of this game, the flow and the feel of Spider-Man PS4 has never felt like, it almost feels like bread and butter. It just goes together. It's smooth. And Insomniac basically put their names in the bag. They can produce high-quality games, and Spider-Man PS4 has been able to show that they can do more with an open-world environment, listening to the fans, and most of all, giving us things that we want in a Spider-Man game. And honestly, they basically threw their name into the ring, and they have elevated that. That's number 5. So Insomniac is now on the map. Number 6 is the exclusivity for the PlayStation. Now, this is a very controversial one, but this gives the PlayStation more room to say it is an exclusive game. It's exclusive for one reason and one reason only, for PlayStation users to get the best on PlayStation. Now you can make the argument that Spider-Man PS4 is not going to get as much sales. They're not going to make as much money because it's a PlayStation exclusive. If you look at the sales for PlayStation consoles and PlayStation members, the sales are higher, if not more, than I believe the PlayStation or Xbox. Now, I'm not saying Xbox is terrible by any means, but if you look at where people are playing, Sony has been able to take a fan base and pretty much build it in their exclusivities. And Spider-Man PS4 just adds to the library, like Insomniac's Ratchet and Clank. Now, I don't know if that's an exclusive as well, but I have to do some more research. Obviously, I'm not the most enthusiast when it comes to Spider-Man and all these other games, but God of War, Infamous The Second Son, these are just some of the few titles that still hold up to the PlayStation 4 exclusives. There was other games like MLB, for that matter. That's a PlayStation exclusive. If you're a baseball fan, you can basically play it. So the point I'm trying to get across is there are now more games in the library of PlayStation exclusives, and Spider-Man PS4 makes that exclusivity more, if not better, for PlayStation users if you're pretty much, you know, a PlayStation user. So that's pretty much all I gotta say on that. And I don't know what reason I'm up to. I think I said number 6. So I'm gonna say this is the last reason. The final reason why Spider-Man PS4 is so important is it's now set a new standard for comic book video games. If Arkham didn't already, I think Spider-Man PS4 has now added a new level to where playing a Spider-Man game has never been more fun and honestly enjoyable. And now the formula that you have Spider-Man PS4 at is now the formula that every superhero game can go by. For example, the Superman game, which is supposedly coming out, which I really hope gets made, if we can hope it has the same formula but elevated in its own way by giving Superman his own realm, and if it's made by the same company that made Arkham, they're just gonna make it better. But if you look at other superhero games that could come into the picture, like the Avengers game that they were talking about, if you were to take the Avengers style and spice it up, you have yourself a formula of success. Not only fans, but you also have a formula for these games. And Spider-Man PS4 is the reason I think that most superhero games are going to elevate, if not be better than what they've been at. Now, I could go into more details and give more reasons why it's better, but I just wanted to give 7 reasons, and I'm going to finish this game off with me defeating this, but that's really all I have to say. So these are my 7 reasons why I think Spider-Man PS4 is the most important Spider-Man game, if not more, to the franchise, but also to the gaming industry as a whole. By giving us more of what we want to see in Spider-Man, giving us all these great feels, it truly makes you believe that you are Spider-Man, and I really like that. So, Insomniac made one hell of a game, and I think that something like this will not be forgotten in a very long time. So, those are my 7 reasons why I think Spider-Man PS4 is very important. So that's all for this video. If you want to give your opinion and thoughts on what you think, go right ahead. Leave down in the comments, why do you think Spider-Man PS4 is important? Do you think it is important or not? I want to hear from you guys. That's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know, what do you think? Again, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and again, live stream videos will be in a full-fledged soon. If you haven't been able to watch them, that's fine. But I intended this video to be released because if you guys don't watch it, it can still be up on the channel and you can just catch the next one. But that's gonna do it. Thanks for watching and peace.